Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Time!
Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Taylor's gone. Come on, touchdown, Indy! Woo! IU America! They got a football team now!
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop!
Now, here's Jim Coyle.
Hey, everybody. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you no matter where or how you're listening. Appreciate you across the airwaves. You're listening on one of our great radio station affiliates or social media. Whatever floats your boat, we're glad to have you no matter what on this Tuesday. Shout out to 97.7 ESPN, the rep. Always the right call in Evansville. Up in the region on the voice of the region, 12:30 a.m., 104.7 FM, WJOB. And Fort Wayne's only sports station, 1380 The Fan. Keep it locked where you have it right there on your radio dial throughout the day. And if you're following on social media, you know the drill. Hit that subscribe button, like button, please. It's beneficial to us. How are you? How's your day start? A little rainy out there. That's okay. Then to each life, a little rain must fall, and we've been pretty good with the rainfall. So not a lot of complaining that you can do. It's part of nature, man. Gotta have it. Gotta have the H2O falling from the skies, as it will be doing throughout the day, it looks like. Catching up on some things. All right, first of all, I'm a big Manning Cast fan. I love watching the Manning Cast. I think it is hilarious, and I don't need, and no offense to the guys that call the game, I don't need that in that game, in that instance. I can see what's going on, and I don't need an inside tutor that break down play by play. I'd rather listen to those guys cracking on each other and then slipping in calls about the game. And then you've got last night they had former President Bush on. There was something, a couple of things where he said funny. I can't remember, but one was Eli said that President Bush, you're accustomed to speaking in front of large audiences, big important audiences, dignitaries all around the world. Sometimes these speeches you have to prepare for months. How long have you been preparing for your appearance on the Manning Cast? And he didn't bat an eye. He said about 10 minutes. And so he was pretty funny, I thought. There was something else that they said it was hilarious. But my favorite quote of the night came from, I think it was Derek Carr. Oh, yeah, Derek Carr was the guest at the end of the night. And I don't know if they'd showed a clip or not, but Derek Carr was talking about a time that I think he was getting ready to come in for Eli in a game to replace him. And maybe they were both on the sideline, and Eli said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm warming up." He said, "It looks like you're getting killed out there." And Eli said, "You don't need to warm up. You need more pads." I meant to save that for Mike DeCourcy, so I'm going to have to retell that. I apologize. You'll hear that again because I know he'll get a kick out of that. But yeah, damn it. Sorry. Meant to save that for Mike. But see, I pull back out tonight. Not a lot of changes expected at the top, except for in the SEC, of course. Alabama will drop. This is going to be interesting. I think that Georgia and Alabama are locked into the SEC title game, which ironically leaves Texas A&M out of that scenario. But they're sitting at number 3. And unless I am mistaken, which very, very possible because there's a ton of information that is going over and over. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out if they won't have to play in the SEC championship game, which again, is it time to eliminate conference championships? Gee whiz. Not a question I thought I would ever ask, but is this game worthless? Other than the prestige of being the Big Ten champion, which is pretty prestigious, believe you me, would you rather not have to play that game because neither Ohio State nor Indiana nor Georgia nor Alabama are going to gain much at all? Now, Georgia is already in the top 4, which means they would stay in that top 4. But Alabama is not. I don't think that they would have to move up. They would have to win the SEC championship to move up into the top 4. And if they lose, they're going to stay out of the top 4. Originally, it had been pretty clear cut that the losers of the Big Ten and the SECs would end up 3 and 4. I don't think that's going to be the case. Now the question will be, who's going to have that 4 spot? Is it going to be Ole Miss, another SEC team, or is it going to be Texas A&M, a Big 12 team, whose only loss came to an Arizona State team when Arizona State had a healthy Sam Leavitt and Texas Tech was without their starting quarterback? Makes a big difference. They could be undefeated right now. Yeah, that's all kinds of stuff to talk about. James Franklin, the portal window, the state trooper, the Texas state trooper. That did you see that over the weekend? Oh, that was, I wish I could play the video, but a Texas state trooper at the Texas A&M game. One of the South Carolina players had an 80-yard touchdown. Man, boom, and he got done running, and he kind of ran up the tunnel a little bit. And he was grabbing reaching back at his hamstring, and then some of his other players joined, and then they were walking back out of that tunnel 3 abreast, just chatting it up, and all of a sudden the state trooper is walking toward them. Why he's walking toward them, no idea, but purposely wedging himself between 2 of the players, and you can see him give the chicken wing on each side, put his arms out, and then turns around and points at one of the players, and they just keep walking wisely. But apparently he's under investigation after the viral incident where he intentionally bumped South Carolina football players, including Nick Harbor, during a Texas A&M game. The trooper was sent home, drawing condemnation from figures like LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith. Well, blah, blah. But yeah, that's going to be interesting to follow that. I'd say that not going to work out too well for him. Plenty to talk about. Like I said, Purdue back atop the AP poll where they should be. They deserve to be at the top. That was a hell of a win over Alabama. Looks strong. 29 points from your boy Braden Smith. Hey, man, he made a statement. I'm going to give it to him. You got to. Indiana men's soccer, the number 6 seed and the number national seed overall in the NCAA tournament upcoming. This is their 50th appearance in 53 opportunities. That's right. 50th appearance out of 50 opportunities. That is dominance in a sport like no other. 8 national championships. I can't even remember how many runners up. At least 4. They've made the College Cup damn near half of the amount of times they've been in. Crazy. Todd Yeagy continues to dominate the sport, although we've had so much change in college athletics. I think that's a hell of a thing. They haven't missed a beat, people. Lots more coming up. Mike DeCourcy will join us. We'll take a quick break. Hope all's well for you and your day has started out dry. Stay dry. Take the umbrella. Back with more after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. Glad to have you. Hope you're having a dry day, although the precipitation is falling down. Almost said participation. Precipitation falling down. Joined now by the great Mike DeCourcy. Mike, I told a joke earlier that I meant to say for you, so I'm going to have to retell this. Wasn't a joke. Actually, not a joke. It's a quote from last night. I was watching the Manning cast. I'm a huge Manning cast fan.
I'm aware.
I love the mix of football. I still think my favorite part is Peyton Manning's ability to completely and totally halfway into a game, if that makes sense. And completely and totally into this conversation where they're cracking on each other, and it's, they're telling a joke here, and all of a sudden, he see right there, see how the backer coming down there, and they split that. I mean, he never stops watching that stuff, and I love it. It cracks me up. But
well, if ever there was a game to watch on Manningcast, it was last night, because you didn't want to take it seriously as actual football.
No, you needed the comedy relief, and there was plenty of it. They had the president on, President George Bush, and he seemed kind of funny. Right off the bat, Eli had said, "Mr. President, I know you're accustomed to preparing for big time appearances. You've been in front of the UN and all these other bodies. How long did you take to prepare for your appearance on the Manning Cast? And he didn't bat an eye, so about 10 minutes. But my favorite one was Eli. Eli was talking. Derek Carr was the guest, and they were talking about a time, I guess, that Derek Carr was coming in for Eli in a game. I didn't hear the first part of that, but Eli asked him, says, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm warming up. It looks like you're getting killed out there." He goes, "You don't need to warm up. You need more pads." I was like, "Oh man, how do people think of that stuff so quick?" I just loved it. I thought it was hilarious. Fun stuff, man. So you're not a Manning Cast guy?
No, I have nothing against those guys, but if I'm watching, I watch for football. So and last night was one of those nights.
Well, you actually get good football because they actually will also.
Well, they'll teach you. I get that, but I can't have the screen shrunk on me, Jim. When ESPN shrinks the screen to interview somebody or something, it makes me crazy because I don't know, maybe it's my eyes. Even with a 70-inch TV, I need the whole screen. When you shrink it, then I have a hard time seeing, and it drives me nuts. So if I'm watching, then I need the full screen. And last night was one of those nights. A lot of the sports I watch, Jim, I watch on DVR because I can see more. And I can spend the evening with my wife. She usually goes to bed earlier anyway. And then I'll watch everything. Last night was one of those nights that I'm coming to bed. There's nothing to see tonight. The Cowboys and the Raiders, I think we can do without.
The Raiders are not good. They suck. That's a great line from Caddyshack. Yeah, you're not good. You stink. I think that was the actual line. The Raiders, a potential landing spot for Fernando Mendoza, the way things look at the moment. There's like 5 different teams that could be in the running for the number 1 draft pick. And as of right now, he appears to be the favorite to be that number 1 draft pick if you follow Mel Kiper and the other mock drafts. And he hasn't done anything of late to change that. It only adds to that. A game I keep talking about last week that it seemed like such a mundane game, and yet he throws for 299 yards with 2 incompletions, 92% completion rate, and 4 touchdowns. And I'm like, damn, it seemed like he didn't do jack in the first half, and it's all of a sudden, whoop. And that's what makes this team so dangerous. They can just be spinning the wheels, and all of a sudden, boom! It's like a great boxer. You're sitting there, maybe trading body blows. All of a sudden, you don't see this knockout punch, and wham! And that's the capabilities that they have with this receiving core. And tell me that Indiana does not have the best receiving core in the United States with Elijah Surratt.
They're great, but you realize that
Charlie Becker now, with Charlie Becker added to this now, Charlie Becker, Omar Cooper,
they're fantastic. But Carnell Tate and Smith over at Ohio State are a pretty formidable pair.
They're a great duo, but Indiana goes much, much deeper, I think.
I don't know. We'd have to see the Ohio State guys play against someone more formidable than UCLA. But last weekend when Tate was out and Smith was compromised and so played, gosh, I'm going to guess, I haven't looked it up, but I'm going to say he played less than a third of the snaps. And it didn't matter. They still threw the ball all over the lot. And again, I realize that it was UCLA that was the opposition, and that is not a strong football team. There's no way to dress that. I mean, they're improved from their start, but they're still not a strong team. and Ohio State was able to continue ringing up yards and points, and even without their two top wide receivers. So I'm going to say those guys, Jeremiah Smith is just phenomenal. Carnell Tate, the deep threat he provides. Brandon Innes was really impressive over the weekend. He had a really nice game. So, the really cool thing about this conversation, Jim, is that if Indiana takes care of the bucket this weekend, if Ohio State takes care of Michigan next weekend, we're going to have the greatest Big Ten championship game ever played. I mean, at least in terms of what it looks like going in. We've had obviously outstanding teams play in that game for 15 years or so, but never any sort of show like this. 2 undefeated teams, 1-2 in the country. Again, each of them has still some work to do to set that up. And Ohio State's workload in that circumstance is much more significant. But Purdue will fight their tails off in that game for as much as they can.
And they've been playing better. They've played good football this year. Just not enough. Boy, look, I'm getting hammered. Jim way off. I already put the other one up there that I was wrong on that one. Hey, it's my opinion. I'm not saying I understand that as a man, they have the best wide receiver. I mean, he's 6'5". He catches balls with one damn hand. Literally, I saw it last week. And he's another one-hander. And I'm like,
he's had one of those in each of the last 2 games.
Now, part of that is he's got big hands, but the other part, those gloves. Have you ever felt one of those gloves, Mike?
I have not.
Oh, okay. You've got to get one because it's just like rubber that doesn't slide. And so it hits, and it's like, gee whiz. Boy, would I like to have these when I played high school. I'd have been All-American. Wow.
Yes.
You can't drop a pass almost, but these guys are.
But they do. Other guys do while he's out there catching them with one finger, even though they all have the access to the same gloves. It's not like those are proprietary to the Buckeyes.
Oh, no.
They all have the chance.
And as a man, he's definitely the best. But I think as a core, I with the emergence of Charlie Becker and the ability and the catches that he's shown that he can type of catches he can make, that man, oh man, with again Omar Cooper, Elijah Surratt, EJ Williams, now Charlie Becker, Riley Nowakowski, they're tight end. It's just been phenomenal to see these guys as a core step in. It's like, wow, they're deeper there. Now offensive line, that's a different story. They're dinged up. This bye week is coming at an opportune time, Mike, because they have been dinged up. I know Khalil Benson was limping at the Maryland game when I was there. And he's been kind of limping ever since. And then they've just been running guys in and out. But this is a huge time to get those guys healthy. But most importantly, Elijah Surratt, the only way I think he plays at the Purdue game is if he was healthy a week ago and they were holding him out for the bye, and this is just extra and he's ready to go and he'll go. Drew Carter, I don't know if they'll run him out or just hold him if he's able to come back in time, or do you hold him through the Big Ten championship with that extra 3 weeks for the run into the South College football playoffs?
I think that if he were unavailable for Purdue, then he would have a week off, and then so that would give him what now 3-4 weeks off prior to Ohio State, and then he would have a couple of weeks after that. So that's one game in a 5-6 weeks period. If all these things are medically oriented, the doctors and trainers are the ones who make that decision. But if he's able to go, that one game wouldn't be that big an interruption in a rest period. the preparation for the Buckeyes, and then the Buckeyes would not be that huge an interruption to. But again, when you make those decisions, you're making them on what can the player tolerate, A, but B, and B is much more important, are you likely to re-injure or injure some other part of your body as a result of playing through this one? That's the most important consideration. And they're not going to play him if either of those two things is the case, not with the entire football playoff ahead of them. I mean, we saw what happened. I don't think we need to, go any farther than Game 7 of the NBA Finals to show what can happen if you are injured in one place and try to play through it because there's no tomorrow, and find out there's no tomorrow now for 360 days or so. So they're not going to risk that if either of those two things is likely to happen. They'll make the proper decision. I very rarely. I don't mistrust any team's medical personnel because they have the athletes' best interests in mind.
Our conference championships, I hate to use the word pointless, but
no,
for lack of a better word, pointless now, other than the prestige, which is great, but because none of these teams that are playing that will, as of right now, as of today, the teams that would play in the Big Ten championship, Ohio State, Indiana, are not going to gain anything other than maybe flopping their seeds. And almost the same with the SEC, although the loser of that might, if that's Alabama, will not be in the top 4. But other than that, you're risking it's another game that's not going to do anything for you in your college, in your search for a national championship.
Well, I think a couple of things. First of all, I mean, you realize that the ghost of Bo Schembechler was very upset by what you just said. First of all,
I know he rolled 4 or 5 times right
Yes,
then.
Exactly. Because for Bo, the Big Ten was everything. That was his belief that nothing.
They didn't even have a Big Ten championship game in his day.
They didn't, but the Big Ten championship was conveyed because they played essentially a full round robin.
Yeah, you could do that. You could have an actual champion there.
Yes. And so there's that. But more so, I think you have to look at it that, like, not every league is the SEC and the Big Ten, first of all. And not every Big Ten is this Big Ten with 2 teams that are dominating the entire league. You have that. And then you have to establish champions because the automatic bids. I wrote a column about this last week, Jim. The president of Mississippi State University is also the chair of the College Football Playoff Oversight Committee. And he announced on the Feinbaum show that it's his position, and he insisted it was also the position of the SEC and most of college football, he said, which he had no right to say.
Of course, if the SEC says it, it's all.
Yes, exactly. Football. He had no right to say that, but he said that automatic bids for everything should be gone. And you're lucky I'm still here today after having heard those words. But thankfully, I have a column as an outlet to express my outrage that someone put in a position like that would say something so preposterously idiotic, Jim. And I don't say that lightly. I choose those words carefully. That is just the most ridiculous position I've ever heard anybody take that's involved in college, in just in terms of competitive, the competitive area. The most preposterous position I've heard a administrator take. We waited for 90 years, 100 years, 150 years, depending on where you want to define the start of this, to finally have a process where it's not just a bunch of people get in a room and say, this is the champion, or these are the teams that'll play for a champion. We finally had it. You can earn your way in. If you're Miami, you win the ACC, you're in. If you're Arizona State, you win the Big 12, you're in. That's and it's true as well in the Big 10 and SEC. I mean, if you are a team that it somehow maybe there's not an ordinary year in those 2 leagues and you have a down year or something, and everybody's got 2 losses. Well, if everybody had 2 losses in the SEC and went into the SEC championship game, that might be a survival game. You just don't know what the scenario is going to be. And so I fully believe in those championship games, obviously more so in the Big 12 and ACC. But there's also years where maybe that seeding difference is a 1 and a 5, not a 1 and a 3, or even like at this point with the way things are going, it's not impossible that Ohio State and Indiana could be 1-2 in the playoff, depending on who wins the SEC, et cetera, and how that game, that presumed game between Ohio State and Indiana goes. I mean, if the final score is 31-30, they could go 1-2. But in any case, you should have to have an opportunity to earn your way in. That's how every single sporting event in the world, Jim. Like, how do you earn your way into Wimbledon? Well, if you are like one of the top 30 players, something like that, you're automatically in. They can't keep you out. It might be more than that. I looked this up a while back. How do you earn your way into the Masters? Well, if you won a tournament on the PGA Tour, you're in. There's all these, every single sporting event, even those that are individual like that. NCAA tournament, how do you get in? You win your conference. They all have it. How do you get into the NFL playoffs? Win your division or have one of the best records as a wild card. But in college football, they want to just say, oh, we're going to go into a room and vote on who's the best. It's garbage.
Not only is it garbage, Mike, look at the people that are on the committee. We just had the committee chair. Basically, he left himself, but would have been tossed out, who is the AD of Baylor, because he had an interaction with a player and a coach. What the hell is he doing? First of all, I mean, what the hell are you doing? That's very odd. But I'll leave that on itself. So then his replacement, of course, is a guy from the SEC. Oh, no, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all. There is no bias. Just ask Bubba Cunningham. No bias whatsoever. And it's just, these are the people that it's like, who the hell's on this committee? It's like, wow. Man, it's getting closer. It's better, but we're still not there. So I don't want to complain.
And part of the reason we're not
about it.
Part of the reason we're not there, Jim, is the lack of data. They have all these formulas and stuff. They're all educated junk. If you don't have interconference competition, you can't have real data. It's really that simple. If you don't have a lot of games between the Big Ten and SEC, the Big Ten and ACC, the Big Ten and Big 12, and all, in all manner of directions on that, you can't have good data. And that's what makes the college basketball, the NCAA men's basketball tournament selection process as effective as it can be. Because look at what have you turned on your television in the last week? Houston, Auburn. Tonight it's Kansas, Duke. It's Michigan State, Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky played last week. Purdue played at Alabama, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Arizona played UCLA. These teams all play against one another. And in a lot of cases, they'll play on neutral floors, so you even get cleaner data. And we'll have Maui next week, and we'll have the Battle for Atlantis, and that's more data. And it goes and goes and goes until we start to play conference. And by the time we get to conference play, you have a really serious idea of who are the strong teams and who are the strong conferences, because they all played one another. And we don't have that in football yet. I think we're moving toward that, and that's a positive step. ACC and SEC have both announced they will play 9-game league schedules and one game non-conference against another Power 4 opponent. Every member has to do that. And I believe that the Big Ten needs to move in that direction as soon as it's feasible. Hopefully next year. I don't know why they haven't done it yet. But when you have some clean data, then maybe at that point you can start saying that you have some accuracy in the selection and seeding process. But right now it's too close to a guess to just throw out all the automatic bids and leave it at that. And just have 12 have people pick 12 teams. That's just, whether it's 12 or 16, that's just pure garbage.
Yeah, and we'll see how it all works out this year. But the funny, 2 of the 5 auto bids will likely be the 11th and 12th seed. Maybe not with if the AC depends on who in the ACC wins it, but because Miami is right there at the bottom, so they would probably move up a little bit. But if it's any of the other teams, they would have to climb to get to the bottom, as would one of the group of 5 teams. So
let me use Notre Dame and Miami as an example of how much superior the men's basketball selection is to the football. Now, like, they don't always just go strictly by head-to-head. But if that's basically all you have, I mean, they're not going to say, oh, we know better. Notre Dame got better, Miami got worse. That's junk. How do you know like Miami just went out and blew NC State off the field on Saturday? So maybe they had a couple of bad weeks. They didn't get worse. They had a couple of bad weeks. Somebody game planned for them right. Whatever it was, they lost 2 games. Notre Dame's 2 losses may have been against more difficult opposition, but they still have 2 losses, and one of them is against Miami. It's a ridiculous exercise that puts Notre Dame 6 spots ahead of Miami just because they're getting better. Against who? I mean, who did they get better against? Their only quality win in all of that, arguably quality win, was USC, which might end up with 4 losses. Just a really bad exercise so far by the College Football Playoff Committee, and it's why I would never trust them to pick all the participants.
Absolutely, I agree. And we've got to take a break. The great Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News is with us. We're back with more Indiana Sports Speed Radio right after these messages.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News with us now. Make sure you're giving Mike a follow, of course, and keeping up with all of his great content at the Sporting News, the nation's oldest publication. Mike was there from the start. Sports publication, of course.
Yes.
They were reporting on Paul Revere's horse races back in the day. Man, Heisman race. Fernando Mendoza still the leader. He kind of put a dart in that with that last drive at Penn State. It's kind of his to lose, I think, right now. But will it come down to the Big Ten championship game?
I think it will, to an extent. Absolutely. His candidacy is I think, going to be on the line in that game. The The award isn't presented till the following week. I think that the ballots will be due on the Sunday after the conference championship games, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's an interesting discussion. I think the award is a little bit too weighted toward quarterbacks at this point, Jim. I'd like to see more players considered. I mean, I look back to when Saquon Barkley didn't win it, and I thought he was a clear, even more so Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey was by far the best college football player his year and didn't get it because he wasn't a quarterback. Larry Fitzgerald was on a 9-2 Pitt team, I think, something like that, maybe 9-3. They weren't a great team, but they had him, and he lost to a guy named Jason White, Jim, who was a quarterback of an undefeated Oklahoma team. And I mean, it just there was no question who was a better football player. What are we doing here? This kind of started for me back in the early 90s when Gino Toretta won it. And I saw Gino in the backseat of one of those, I think it's Toyota that does those Heisman commercials. They're really good. The Heisman Club or whatever they call it, the house, Heisman House. And he was in the backseat of one of the recent ones. And but like Gino was like the 7th best player on his offense, and he won the Heisman. It just, I think Fernando's terrific. And if he goes out and continues to do, I didn't think he had a great game against Penn State. I really didn't. Even on the final drive, that's what was amazing about the final drive is he wasn't great on the final drive, but he had the sideline catch was phenomenal. And then Cooper's touchdown catch, one of the great catches any of us will ever see. And he gets credit for that. I mean, he put the ball where Omar could get it and no one else could. But they won as a result of that. But so I think that his moment will come in that game. Again, I don't think I don't think it's established that it will be the two of them. They both I believe that they both have to win because I think there's still a backdoor for Oregon to get in if they don't both win. They both have one game remaining. They're both favored to win. Maybe not heavily in Ohio State's case, but they're both favored to win. And I expect that they'll win. But if that game happens, and Fernando finds a way to win it, I think it'll be hard to keep the Heisman out of his hands.
I agree wholeheartedly because that will put Indiana again on another level where they have never been. So just fun stuff to look at and look forward to. College basketball underway as well, Mike. The Big Ten, all along I'm like, well, I have no idea about anybody because, all the changes. Well, now it didn't take long. I've got an idea about some of these. Damn, Illinois looks pretty daggone good. Michigan has a ton of talent, but they are not playing together yet. They are still trying to weld that team together. I think that Dusty May is still trying to get those guys to play together, which is a problem Purdue does not have because they are already in sync. And wow, what a huge win that was. Not only for them to reclaim number one, but Big Ten SEC matchup, just a huge win and a huge win for Braden Smith, 29 points. Big, emphatic. I mean, hey, man, I'll give them his flowers when they deserve it. Boom. They deserve to be number one right now.
Yeah, I think Braden Smith made obviously that was important for them toward a number one seed and all of that sort of stuff. I mean, it's a long way between now and a number one seed, but you get a road win like that, and it really helps you as you continue to build the case. But I think what that game, as much as anything, accomplished was to say to the NBA, you really think I'm not a number one pick? Do you really think I'm not a first rounder? I can go down there against those guys in that environment and do that. You better think real hard about passing on me. The entire NBA essentially passed on Jalen Brunson as a first-round pick back in the day after Jalen Brunson produced the greatest point guard season of this century. And they thought, nah. And now we see what a mistake it was. I knew it was a mistake at the time. I didn't know. I won't say that I knew it was this big a mistake, but I knew it was a mistake. I knew he was going to be a good pro. And I know that Braden Smith is going to find a role in the league, either as a reserve. I think he can be a starter in certain circumstances, depending on the team, the type of team, how they want to play, whether they have big wings around them to protect the size. I mean, you remember Braden, whether he's 5'11", 6 foot or whatever, right now, 6'3" is a small NBA point guard. There are way more SGAs and Tyrese's than there are Chris Pauls now. It's just the way the game has evolved as players of that size have learned point guard skills in their earlier ages. Tyrese and SGA and De'Aaron Fox and guys like that. As they learned that, the smaller player, it's gotten harder for them to, because there is an advantage to being 6'6", like Tyrese is. There's a clear advantage. But it's not to say you can't still be a starting point guard in the league at Braden's size or right around there. If you're not, you can be an extraordinarily valuable backup, like Payne has been in the league for New York, for Phoenix, some other teams, like T.J. McConnell has been. Peyton Pritchard up in Boston has been a starter and non-starter, but been a valuable player. All those guys have shown that Braden Smith has a future in the league.
Unless you want to stick around for another segment, 60 seconds on what your thoughts on Indiana are.
I can stick around for more. I think one of the things that's interesting, and we can discuss this on the way out or on the way back, is that when you watch the transfer portal, and you haven't seen a lot of guys like Lamar Wilkerson. Come on, man. You didn't see Lamar Wilkerson play at Sam Houston. But one of the things that's interesting, and I think this is becoming more and more true, and I think that guys like Darian DeVries get this. And, of course, they do way more study than just simply this. But if you can shoot at the Southland Conference level, say, you can shoot at the Big Ten level. You can shoot. That translates as long as you can get the player open. Now, that doesn't mean you can guard. It doesn't mean all that. But if you can shoot, they can make a role for you. And it's not always going to be a success story like Lamar Wilkerson is. But if Lamar weren't able to do the other things that he's doing, they'd still find a value to him. So if you're averaging high teens or low 20s and you're shooting the numbers, he shot 44.7 from three last year, 44.7% on 109 makes. That guy's going to make shots in the Big Ten too, Jim. Like I said, you don't know that he's going to be able to guard every great wing in the league, but he's going to make shots, so he's going to make you better. And that's something that when you see all the transfer portal activity in the spring, first thing you check, okay, what if he's a big guy, what he rebound? If he's a wing, what he shoot? Those are the things you want to know.
Absolutely. Mike DeCourcy with us. Let's take a quick break. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after these messages.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, FreeThink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. Glad to have Mike DeCourcy with us as always, and he has been so gracious to give us some extra time. The basketball season underway, and we've seen some good wins by Illinois, by Purdue. Michigan still, like I said, I don't want to say they're struggling, but they're learning with all that talent they have. They don't look like they're playing together quite just yet. But not that I expect that they will be one of those teams at the top of the league when things roll around. I wasn't sure that Purdue was really going to have the strength to do it, but boy, oh boy, that game at Alabama, I'm like, all right, that sells me right there. They're a legit team to look out for. I still don't know that they have an NBA first round draft on that team. And that's the deal we think about, because no team has not had one since 87.
It was 87.
I'm just making sure, man. I don't want to be incorrect. But yeah, it just but hey, they've got shooters. They've got the 7-footer now that they didn't have last year, that
right,
I assume is going to help be their rim protector, something Indiana doesn't have. That's where Indiana is really, rim protection. Although against Incarnate Word, they out rebounded them substantially, which was a little surprising, but that's probably because they didn't shoot the ball or the crap, and they got a lot of their own rebounds. So good days, bad days, but it's going to be interesting. The Big Ten is going to be pretty, it's going to be deep. They're going to be strong at the top.
It's been a great non-conference for the Big Ten so far. I mean, it's only been 2 weeks, but they have done just about everything you'd ask them to do. The Michigan State win over Arkansas, hard fought, but pulled it out. The Purdue win, we've talked about. Illinois beating Texas Tech, home game, but Illinois has a game tomorrow night at the United Center that will challenge them again. I think that one's also against Alabama. So there, and Illinois has not been full strength yet. Mihajlo Petrovic, who is slated to be their point guard, hasn't played yet. Had some initial hesitance in getting him cleared. I think that's done now, but then he got nicked a little bit, so he hasn't been healthy. So I'm not sure exactly. I think that they're leaning toward him playing against Alabama, but obviously there's still, another 36 hours between now and when they hoop. So got to be, make sure he gets through that in order to play. And then they, Kylan Boswell has done a great job at the point in the absence of Petrovic, but I think that they want to get Petrovic installed so that they can get Boswell back to the 2, and then they can start becoming the team they want to be. Right now, they're becoming the best version of this team, but maybe not the best version of Illinois. So it's been a really good non-conference so far for the Big Ten. It's much too early to say that they're going to end up where the SEC wound up last year. But as it stands now, if anybody's going to wind up where the SEC wound up last year with 14 bids, with that level of depth in their league, it'll be the Big Ten. The SEC has not performed quite as well early on as they did a year ago. They've been fine, won some good games, but not like the Big Ten has. When they faced one another, it's generally been the Big Ten coming out on top.
Yeah, and early in the season, I've learned to really acknowledge that, hey, take this with a grain of salt right now until these guys get things going. But Indiana, they've got Lindenwood coming up next, but Kansas State on the 25th, and then down the road a little bit. Well, then they jump into Big Ten play for a game.
Right.
Then you've got Louisville, then Penn State, then Kentucky.
Yes.
The Louisville game, which is in Indianapolis, and Kentucky, which is down in I think that's just east of hell. Down in
Oh, wow. Everybody, he said that, not me.
Hey, man. I've got to get the rim shot sound effect.
That was good. That was good.
But no, looking forward to those games because I know how good Louisville is. Kentucky was getting their lunch handed to them by Louisville, but they charged back, and Louisville had to hold on for that win at home. So those are going to be. Someone asked me the other day, what would I think would be good for, or what do I expect Indiana out of that Kansas State, Louisville, Kentucky? I'm like 1-2. I said, why would anybody expect anything other than that? These are Kentucky was a top 10 team. Now Louisville is a top 10 team. So I don't expect them to beat them. If they do, that's wonderful. But
right.
I've seen Kentucky play. I've seen Louisville play. I don't expect it because this is where the rim protection and the rebounding might get Indiana in trouble, although they do a lot of other things to try to make up for that, and they've been pretty successful at it. The shooting has to be there for them to beat a team like Louisville or Kentucky. You can get by with that against Incarnate Word, but that won't fly against a team like that.
Yeah, I think that it's important that they get the K-State game. They did a really nice job in the Marquette non-conference game. I think if they get K-State and then make sure that they take care of business in those first two Big Ten games at Minnesota and then Penn State, neither of those teams is likely to end up near the top of the conference. So you don't want to take an early loss in the league to them, especially when you know you've got those two games against Louisville and Kentucky that are so difficult. So if you take care of business in those other three, then whatever happens in the two games against the state of Kentucky happens, and you can be fine moving forward.
What have you thought about Iowa so far? I haven't seen them a lot, but I from what I've heard, it seems like they're playing pretty well.
Yeah, it's hard to totally judge them because they haven't played. I know Xavier's a good brand, right? They've been a great program for 30 years, 40 years. This is not a vintage Xavier team. They went into the transfer portal. Remember, I talked about how you can look, like even if you haven't seen guys play, you can look at the stats and say, is that really who Xavier needs? Is that really going to make them competitive in the Big East? And I will tell you that every name I saw come across the Twitter wire that they were signing, I was like, when's the talent coming? And you can see now that those very they were very surfacey evaluations that I was doing were pretty accurate because they have not played well at all, and they're looking like they're going to struggle to be competitive in the Big East at this point. So we really haven't had a great occasion to see Iowa play. They have Ole Miss later in the month in a tournament, and then we'll play either Utah or Grand Canyon. That'll help establish them a little bit, and then they get introduced to the Big Ten in the strictest possible way. They have to go to the Breslin Center and play Michigan State in early December. So that'll be a real challenge for the new Iowa regime. But speaking of the old Iowa regime, a really, really nice night for Nebraska. Again, we were talking about all the success that the league is having. They played up in South Dakota against Oklahoma, SEC Big Ten matchup, and Price Sanford, who was the younger brother of Peyton and was also at Iowa, but has since transferred to Nebraska, just absolutely lit it up in South Dakota. He was fantastic. Rink Mast is back for Nebraska. He played very well, made a couple of second half threes that were huge. That's a team that's going to be somebody that you have to reckon with when you face them on your schedule. It's a very capable offensive basketball team, and the Hoosiers are fortunate in this occasion that they get them at home. They don't have to go to Pinnacle Bank where the Huskers are so hard to play. They'll get them at home, but if they get them, it'll be a quality win, Jim. I mean, that's going to be a solid team.
Absolutely, and that's what they need. They need to be challenged like that.
Yes.
Without it, you're going to find yourself probably on the outside looking in. What are your early thoughts on this Indiana team as far as we haven't really seen them at full strength? So that's still I've got a good understanding, but not fully because we haven't seen them at full strength.
Right.
And as they've added guys like Josiah Miles and Sam Alexis, man, you've seen that, or Nick Dorn rather, what they brought, what they were missing, a little more depth. Although the shooting went down the other day and free throw shooting was below 70% for the first time only.
Right.
But overall, this is a good shooting team. They normally shoot the ball well at the free throw line. They're not making a lot of mistakes. They force mistakes. They try to do, like I said earlier, they try to do as many things possible to make up for their deficiencies because they know they have them. But they do have things that others don't. They've got a 6'10" guy who brings the ball up like freaking a 6'4" point guard. I mean, he pretty amazing how his capabilities at that. So I think that's another thing that Indiana's going to be able to do. They're going to be able to run with these teams with 7-footers. They're going to run those guys' butts off, man. So they can sit in the zone all they want, but that probably won't work in that type of deal. So it's going to be interesting to see, but Big Ten is going to be tough at the top.
It is, and I think that's great for Indiana because, again, like I said, I think last week that I would project based on what we've seen, and I think it's what I projected coming into the year as well, that they would be fighting to be in the top 9. And the margins are so close. If you're fighting to be in the top 9, you could be 5th or 6th as well as 9th. But if you're in that upper half of the league, I think that you are a likely NCAA tournament participant, excuse me. That 9th team is likely. It's not guaranteed with the way the league is trending through the first 2 weeks of non-conference play. It would be more likely that 9th team will get in and might be more beyond that. But I think that's a worthy goal for this group. And that doesn't mean that that's all you shoot for. But if you're in that upper half of a league that appears to be really strong, then you have a great chance to do things that you want to do. You want to be to maybe advance in the Big Ten tournament. You want to maybe get into the NCAAs with a decent seed, and all that's available to you if you're able to compete at that level. And again, that's not to say that that's the ceiling. That's saying that that's what you should feel that you're capable of at minimum. And I think that the handling Marquette as they did was a really good step in that direction. I wouldn't look at the Incarnate Word game as much beyond. They were vexed a little bit by the scheme. They had a tough shooting night. And I think there's probably a little bit of competitive jealousy to an extent. And what I mean by that is you're still playing the Lindenwoods and the Incarnate Words, and other people are out there playing Alabama. And I think you maybe start to get a little bit eager to get one of those games yourself. It'll come in a week from today against Kansas State, and you'll get that game. But I think players sometimes can get a little antsy about, when do we get to prove ourselves, test ourselves? How good are we? I think that sometimes teams look at that, and that's the wrong approach. Obviously, your approach's got to be whether you're playing Incarnate Word or you're playing against the white shirts in practice, the red shirts and the white shirts. Mm-hmm. Your approach has to be, we got to get better today. That's all that your job is we got to get better today.
Yeah, I don't know if this question could be answered, but Uncle Phil asking how many Big Ten teams you make the tournament. Best guess.
What do you got?
Man, I'm gonna go with 8 or 9 tops.
I'm gonna say that it's 10 or 11 at this point, based on what we've seen so far. That's the trend. Now they could reverse the trend. They could go out and stink it up next 3 weeks. Who knows, right? But that doesn't seem to be where we're headed. It seems to be we're headed toward a stronger, deeper league than even we saw a year ago, which when it was really strong and deep. I think that we're headed toward a better year than a year ago. Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan, Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska, Northwestern played fairly well on Friday night. Not their best, but fairly well. I think there are going to be teams that struggle. I think Rutgers is going to have some issues. I think Maryland is going to have to fight to be at the middle of the league. Oregon, UCLA, those two teams both very strong. USC still might break forward. So Wisconsin's going to be terrific.
They're ranked right now, so
yeah. So I think 10 is a number that they can put up on the board and say, let's see if we can match this or beat it.
That's a great number, and that would be a fantastic season for the league without question. You don't have to get 14 in. 14 is it's just an astonishing number, an astonishing accomplishment, and that was without having Bubba Cunningham as your director. So they really, that's extra deserving, man. I'm never going to get off that ever.
Oh, wow.
I will never get off that, man. But what is coming up next for you with all of this going on? It's crossover season. I know you cover basketball more than football, but you pay attention to everything. But the basketball season has certainly started. A lot of great games early on. Before, we would have nothing but these cream puff games. Well, now they're really mixing in some good games. Indiana has gotten back to a pretty good preseason schedule with Marquette. And let me tell you, Milwaukee, there are no walkovers, man. That was a hard playing team, but this Kansas State game, going to Rupp Arena, and then playing Louisville in Indianapolis on the same day as the Big Ten championship, which will be a very, very fun day.
That'll be something. I have a story up right now that just went up today about Illinois and its lean toward Eastern Europe. I did a piece about that. I posted one yesterday about the top 25 college basketball players of this century, the 25 for 25 years. Had a lot of fun putting that together. I'm looking for more debate though online. I'm looking for somebody to tell me I'm wrong. And no one's come forward yet to say, how could you possibly have Tyler Hansbrough number one? I mean, I'm waiting for that, but no one's brought it yet, Jim. Somebody's got to yell at me some. I need it to get my week going.
Hey, man, I'm sure I can't believe it hasn't come either, because everybody likes to say, hey, man, where's my guy? Where's this guy? Why did you leave him out? Who was number one? Who was controversial? I'm trying to get it pulled up, and I'm having something's down, it looks like. But
earlier in the day, there was some sort of server issue with our site. It also affected
everywhere.
It affected Twitter, yes. But I think we're back. Although maybe it's back down again. I sure hope. Yep, we're back down again. We were there for a minute.
I was trying to pull it up earlier. I'm like, all right, I can't get it pulled up for some reason.
Yes. So I guess they're all back down again. So
who do you think is your most controversial selection in there?
I think the number one is an interesting debate, because Tyler did not go on to have a spectacular pro career. It's obviously not based on your pro career. I've seen other lists, and I love the revisionism of. There was one list on a fairly major website that listed Carmelo Anthony as the number one college player of the 21st century. We were the only ones, Jim. We were the only organization, The Sporting News, that named Carmelo Anthony first team All-America. And now another organization named him the best of the 21st century. I went by career. I didn't go by, hey, this guy walked in, had a phenomenal year, and then kicked it on. I mean, that if that's how you want to do it, that's your list, right? But mine is on career. So you had to have a really impactful 1 year to make the list. And I think I have 4 one-and-dones on the list. If I'm 4 one-and-dones, and then technically Shane Battier is 1.5 and done, because we only counted his peer, from January 1, 2000 on. So making the 99 Final Four with that great Duke team, where he was a starter, didn't count. So he was kind of a one and done. And then we had Zion and KD and Anthony Davis and Melo, who was one and done before they even used that term. But it went on career. And so that's a big reason why what the man we used to call Psycho T, Tyler Hansborough, was my number 1 pick.
Tyler Hansborough from Kentucky.
I'll tell you what was an interesting discussion in my internal discussion, because it is all my list. It's the Sporting News brand, but it is my list. I took input from colleagues on the staff, but it's pretty much my list. Was where to put Zach Edey was an interesting call, because he's only 2-time Player of the Year of the century, and the only one since the early 80s with Ralph Sampson. But they didn't win it. And so where do you put him? So that the decision about where to put him was kind of an interesting debate. I will tell you that everybody that's ahead of him won it at least once, and that there aren't a lot ahead of him, but that it was hard for me to decide exactly where to put him, because he was a phenomenal individual player, and they did have great team success. But the guys ranked ahead of him all had at least one title.
You gotta win it. You gotta win it, baby. Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News. Make sure you're giving him a follow and enjoying his incredibly great content that I cannot get to at the moment. So hopefully you can, and just keep trying. Mike, I appreciate you, buddy. Stay dry today.
Thanks, Jim.
Appreciate you. Mike DeCourcy joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We've got more coming up. JD Campbell's going to join us. Bill Bender will join us later from the Sporting News, as well as we'll talk more about the impending college football poll coming out tonight and plenty more after these messages on Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming, or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com.
Yeah, Charlie Becker, I call him Chuck, but Chuck has been fantastic. He's Alberto's and I's roommate, along with some other guys, but we've seen the work that Chuck's put through catching balls for us at 7 a.m. on random Sunday summer mornings, on random Sundays, spring mornings, and just his work ethic and what it's all accumulated to is so special to see that he's making huge plays on the field, getting a lot of targets, getting a lot of catches, and really contributing to our already elite receiving corps.
Beyond this elite receiving core, that was Fernando Mendoza, your leading Heisman Trophy candidate, the starting quarterback for Indiana, talking about Charlie Chuck Becker, as he affectionately called him, who has emerged as another top receiver, man. JD, I don't know if you've been able to see any of these football games, but man, this receiving core is just deep. They lose Elijah Surratt for a while, and no problem. They just bring in this Charlie Becker dude, and he makes these crazy catches. The catch before the touchdown at Penn State, I still marvel over. He was basically levitating and out of bounds and was able to get a foot down. These guys have gotten so spectacular and talented. But, man, what a fun season it has been. Have you been able to get out to any football games?
I've not been out. I've been around, but I've not been out. I think the big takeaway for me is the more weapons you have, game changers, that really makes it difficult for the defense to focus on, hey, if we stop this or if we just put pressure on. And, everybody is so much in sync with this team. And you can tell that, there are times, again, the coaches, everyone in this league's really smart. And you may stop them for a while. You may look them bad, may make them look bad for a while. But ultimately, when you have the weapons, the chess pieces, it falls into place and it becomes checkmate really early when you got a lot of different weapons that you can go to, whether it be in the running game, your offensive line, tight end, receiving core. And the thing about it is, the nice thing that you're seeing right now is that nobody's pouting. Nobody is pouting because they're not getting playing time. They're just like, hey, all right, next man up. Here it goes. It's my chance. And that's what you want from an athlete. You want them to say, I'm going to hit the ball so hard, you're going to have to give me, and this is my baseball stupid terms, I want to hit the ball so hard that you're going to have to give me 2 hits in the scorebook. And when these guys come out, they want to prove that they're just as good, maybe even better than the guy that's playing ahead of them. And when you have that kind of internal competition, but you have the camaraderie and the respect and love of your teammates, that results into something really special. And that's what we've seen with Indiana, especially these last 2 years.
Yeah, it's been just fun to watch it all, fun to watch the transformation, fun to watch the transformation at Memorial Stadium. It was fun to see the fans stay through all 4 quarters last Saturday for this team. And that was important to Curt Cignetti, and they did it. I was like, wow, I remember asking Scott Dolson, I said, man, have you ever seen a 4th quarter crowd like this? Because that's usually not how it is. And it's brought just so much fun to the university, to the city, to the town of Bloomington. So it's just been a fun time ride that is not over by a stretch. It will continue to roll on, man, as we've got a lot of things coming up with the CFP and all of that. Did you see the viral video of the Texas A&M game where the players went up the tunnel, and as they were coming back out, the trooper went through the 20th. And
and
I'm like, wow, what an idiot. You're gonna I'm like, boy, I'd love to have been in the room when he got back to his superior, because he's saying, what the hell were you thinking?
That's the thing about today. There's always a camera angle that somebody catches something and it goes immediately viral. I would not have wanted video of me literally going to a Michigan State fan saying, "You touch me one more time, I'm going to punch you in the face."
Yeah.
But that's
I get that, but you could tell he was looking for, he chicken winged them. There was no reason for him to be walking up that tunnel between them. So I was like, what's this dude thinking, man?
Well, one of the hardest things in my position, I always felt, is that you can't cheer. And you may remember in the press box in football, I was up top in the back row and I would yell, "Quiet." When people would begin to cheer. And a lot of people don't know you can't cheer in a press box, and they're guests and they're they're fans. They're fans, and they're giving them access, and that's cool. That happens. I can't even tell you how many people I got into games. I can say it now, but you call me and I'd find a way to get you in a game. I'd find a way to get you in a building. Gave a lot of tours of Assembly Hall during my day when nobody was around. But yeah, the viral stuff and why the guy did that, you get caught up in the emotion. And that's something that's really, really hard to keep your composure. Yell at a ref. You saw where I sat next to the bench. I was usually 3, sometimes, in games on the road, I was next to the bench. But it's really hard. And that's the case of that everything, every rumor, now we're talking about Lane Kiffin going to LSU. Wow. Your team's fighting for the CFP and you got guys making visits. So you just really.
Well, it's not only that, JD.
It's very difficult. And when you have so many.
I was going to say that the transfer portal will open while Indiana's playing their first game. It opens up January 20th.
Jim?
And yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry if you can't hear me. You lost. If we've lost you there, but can you hear me, brother? Anyway, the transfer portal is going to open up as well. So it's just going to be a lot of weird stuff going on.
Well, again, who's coaching their team now that will be coaching in their bowl games? None of us know. Where's the guy going to go? We saw James Franklin yesterday at Virginia Tech. And, I think that's a great move for them. It gives them both a chance to reset. He's going to come back motivated. And again, there's nothing worse than you never want to play a team or a person that's motivated. And I guarantee you that when Enter Sandman comes on at Virginia Tech next year in their first game against whoever it is, and they'll probably try to give them a big matchup, it'll be something really, really special.
Absolutely. And that was a good hire. I think that's going to be interesting. The Big 12 is kind of emerging as another conference. They're not there yet with the money, but guess what, man, if they get some of those teams that has oil money, look out, baby. Texas Tech they're going to be loading up. They may end up being a top 4 seed, I think, depending upon what happens with the the SEC, because Alabama is going to play in the SEC championship, but they just got beat at home, so they're out of the top 4 right now. I don't see them jumping up unless they win it, which then Georgia would only drop a spot probably. But if Alabama loses, they're going to drop further, and that will allow Texas Tech to jump up. So we still don't know where everybody's going to go. Other than probably the winner of the Big Ten to the Rose Bowl and the winner of the SEC to the Sugar Bowl. But that's something that sucks, is not knowing where you're going. And it happens during the NCAA tournament and all of that until it's like, boom. For the teams, it's easy. But like the fans and the media, we've got to plan all that and pay for it. That sucks.
Big fish eats the little fish, and life goes on, Jim.
That's great.
I knew,
man.
like I say, it didn't matter where we were going because I knew I was on the plane. I had a hotel room, and those things are really difficult. I get that. In fact, I had a meeting with my new AD at Newman University. He wanted to come down Friday night and go out to eat in Bloomington. I said, you don't want to do anything in Bloomington on Friday night. And I met him downtown Indy, and then the next morning he came up because he was going to go to the football game. He was actually staying with the Incarnate Word folks. He was a former associate AD there, and we were going to meet for breakfast. And I was like, "Oh man, this is scary." So I sent him to one place, and it wasn't open till 10. So we ended up going to Chick-fil-A, which was great to have breakfast there. I'd never had breakfast at Chick-fil-A, and that was a big deal for me. But you just want to avoid you want to avoid the traffic. And I was able to get him a parking spot at St. Paul's Church, $50. And looking at the prices, driving by where I drove by, you could see the beer was flowing at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning already. And it was just such an impressive sight to drive by back by the baseball field on the bypass. And I'm just glad I got out of there with minimal traffic issues.
Yeah, I am impressed with the growth of the RV lots for Indiana during tailgating.
Yeah,
it was fun to see all this stuff grow.
It was tremendous. And I used to drive around in a golf cart. So I had the ability, because a lot of times I would just stay working on basketball stuff. Right now you're doing double dip because, a lot of times you either played Friday night or you're playing Sunday with a home football game. Sometimes you had when you have the home football game. So I would come over at the very last 11:45, I would get there and I would go raid. I'd find out wherever I could get the best food possible and walk around because I had the all access pass. And Katie Bates used to see me up in the varsity club area. It was usually quiet then. And I would come in and I would kill it. But that's in another lifetime now, man. Now I sit there and I eat and I may grill, I may make some chili, I may do whatever, and I don't have to worry about driving a golf cart and scratching a car anymore.
I haven't gotten to my chili making mode just yet. It's not luckily it hasn't gotten cold yet. I'm grateful to make chili.
Yes,
I love chili all the time. Trust me. I love it. I'd eat it any time of the year. But I made a big batch of spaghetti again last night, and I take my spaghetti as seriously as I take my chili.
Yeah, I understand exactly where you're coming from on that. I do like food. I grilled last night. It may be the last time I grill all year, but I made Daddy Burger.
Man, don't be afraid to grill in the winter, man. Just put the coat on. You can still do it.
Look, I'd burn my house down. You know what I'm saying? I've done that almost twice.
Well, you got to move the grill further away then.
Well, yeah. I'm not one of those guys that grills in their driveway. I've seen people do that. And I will not use a gas grill ever.
Oh, you're a charcoal guy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, respect, but that just takes too damn long. I'm like, especially in the wintertime,
you're
it's
not
like
really grilling. You're not barbecue. If you cook with a gas grill, you're not doing it. Gas grill's fake. There's your cantankerousness.
Gritty.
Yeah, I met Gritty Friday over at Upstairs Pub when I went and visited Dockage.
Yeah, I should have stopped by, but I didn't want to crash.
They asked me for my ID. That was the best thing that I had best compliment you could ever give me is ask me for my ID.
Yeah, I think those guys are just brain warped to do that. ID. Everybody, you ask everybody for an ID. They're not getting in trouble, baby, for JD being underage. No way. It's not going to happen. I saw Dan on at the game and Lee out there. But, yeah, he has said he had a good time out there.
No, they have to do their job. They have to.
Oh, you're talking about the ID guys. Oh, yeah. You got to do it. What's up next for you, JD?
Well, Saturday, I believe that my wife and I are going to head to Carmel for some kind of Christmas festival. My son, John, and daughter-in-law, Mara, and my granddaughter, the A train, I call her, and with another A coming in less than a month, we're going to have the AA batteries. And we're going to go spend Saturday with them at some kind of Christmas festival. And then that begins like the next month of, we're going to Detroit I'll be able to come on Tuesday. Week from Wednesday, we'll be going to Detroit for that Lions-Packers game, which is going to be, just a few people might show up. They may be too tired from eating Thanksgiving dinner, but that'll be a great bucket list thing to be at Detroit on Thanksgiving Day.
Absolutely, man. Well, enjoy it, and we'll talk to you before then, probably.
Yep, you'll talk to me Tuesday. I'll be here, but it's good, Jim. Just keep it going. And again, interesting. I just looked, I told you, like, I'm really not following social media like I used to. I didn't realize the Champions Classic was tonight. I don't even know, where's the Champions Classic at tonight? Duke and Kansas and Michigan State and Kentucky. Where's that at this year?
I do not know where they're playing that. If it's in Chicago or where it is. I didn't look to see Indy, where it was. Yeah, I don't think so. Well, enjoy it, my friend, and don't burn down the house.
Burning down the house.
There you go, man. JD's got it. We got more coming up. Bill Bender from the Sporting News will join us on the other side.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, sir.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. Glad to have Bill Bender from the Sporting News, their football guru. How are you, sir? We've got you muted.
Rookie mistake. Sorry.
There we go, man.
He's on now. Rookie mistake. How are you, Jim? Thanks for having me on.
Great. Just enjoying watching the rain fall outside and knowing I'm not going to go anywhere. Just going to work all day and enjoy taking in a bunch of numbers. Starting a number crunching time.
Yeah, it is. And, it's also firing season has given way to hiring season. So I'm in a dual spot here right now. Like I'm looking at, getting things ready for tonight's rankings, the third rankings, and see if there are any surprises between, I call it I made a joke on another podcast, the DeCourcy would appreciate. It's not the Champions Classic. It's the same 4 teams Classic. Let's update that. Come on. And then, the hiring and firing. James Franklin gets hired yesterday, keeping a close watch on where the Lane Kiffin soap opera takes us over the next few days, because as you know, it could be anywhere.
Yeah, and man, you got to feel for Ole Miss. Ole Miss, here's a team that is definitely deep into the CFP, and what he surely he would stay, but they can't. Can they wait until it's done to announce because of the portal and all? There's so much that goes on when the portal opens. It's nuts. It's like, wow, I don't think they're going to do this long. I think they'll come up with something different, but I don't know what. But unless they're able to navigate all of this, but it's a lot.
Well, I've been pointing to this stat a lot in the last few weeks. It said if you look at the Power Four since 2023, and I've got it up right now, the fourth best winning percentage among programs, right behind Oregon or Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, is Ole Miss. That's what he's done the last 3 years, and I find that Notre Dame's next. Those are the 5 programs. Then Michigan 6, Texas, that 30 plus win programs over the last 3 years, and so that's what he's accomplished at Ole Miss. But as you know, with Lane, and I pointed this out this morning as well, he is no stranger to strange exits, whether it's on a tarmac or the way he left Tennessee, or I pointed, and people might forget about this one. Remember, he was let go essentially after a college football playoff semifinal against Washington as the offensive coordinator, had a bizarre exit from Alabama. So, some people like normal life. Lane Kiffin's not one of those people.
No, definitely not. And he has stayed longer than a lot of people expected that he might stay at Ole Miss. But I think the reason, with the success he's had, he must feel that he either cannot reach the pinnacle of where he wants to get to money-wise. I'm sure he has a pretty good understanding of what their ceiling is. And I don't know, LSU doesn't have a ceiling. Almost. So I guess that, or he's just this guy that has this drive to do it again someplace else. I don't know. It's because now you're staying within the conference. That's also a difficult thing to do. But LSU has got to hire somebody, and it's a plum job, and it's, I guess, maybe the best job out there right now. I know Penn State is there, but LSU might be the best job out there, Bill.
It is. And from the standpoint of, I keep telling people 3 of their last 4 coaches have won national championships, and there were 3 different people. Nick Saban, Ed Orgeron, and Les Miles go into a bar. That sounds like the beginning of a joke because they are three very different human beings. And Lane would be the fourth at that table, and he is also very different. So it can be done. You have the resources, the recruiting. If it's risky because what he's done at Ole Miss, we just said, been phenomenal. Here's the other potential for drama here is, okay, they're 10-1. They're in the playoff now. They're in the playoff. I don't really care what happens in the Egg Bowl. How do you go from this potential distraction, not just the Egg Bowl? Let's say he leaves. Let's say he says, I'm going to LSU, but I want to finish the season at Ole Miss. Jim, I don't think they would let him finish the season there.
You know what Bo Schembechler said, baby?
There was a guy named Bill Frieder that backed that up, correct? And Steve Fisher ended up coaching a tournament. That is exactly right. So I was saying,
won a national championship, didn't he?
Yeah, they went through and beat Seton Hall that year. So
crazy.
That's
the Wally Pip. That's the Wally Pip. Curt Cignetti, he didn't mean to do it, but he Wally pipped Elijah Surratt the other day, just joking about it on an interview. He's like, we were talking about Charlie Becker, who has come on in his stead and just been freaking phenomenal. He goes, I don't know, maybe Elijah's Wally Pipp, Charlie is Lou Gehrig, and I was like, oh man, don't make that joke.
Well, and how many, for those of us who have teenage sons, how many would get the Wally Pipp joke? I don't think my son would get that. I still get it. I absolutely know it. So interesting. Well, first of all, Becker, he makes some phenomenal catches, doesn't he? Oh my gosh, he is fun to watch. So that just gives them another receiver option.
I said this earlier, and I got called out as being wrong by everybody, our listeners, which predominantly Indiana people. I think Indiana has the best receiving core overall in the country. With the emergence of Charlie Becker, you've got Elijah Surratt, Omar Cooper Jr., E.J. Williams. Now Charlie Becker is into that category. Riley Nowakowski has been doing a great job all year anyway. They have got such a group of guys for Fernando to throw his passes to. It's phenomenal. I know that Ohio State has guys that are individually better, but I think as a group, Indiana has the best receiving core because of its depth.
Don't get me crushed here or flamed, as my kids like. That's one my kids definitely like saying. You're going to get flamed, and I'm going to get flamed if I say in Central Ohio that Indiana has better receivers than Ohio State. But I will say this: it's comparable. I'll be political here. With Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, it's hard to find a better 1-2. But Cooper, Surratt, it's good timing because I filled out the Biletnikoff ballot. That's one of the awards I've done forever. And I enjoy doing it because once upon a time, Jim, believe it or not, I played receiver in high school. So I was very undersized receiver, but I like getting after it. And I love that award. So to your point, Indiana, phenomenal core, no doubt. Now, do they have a better 1-2 than Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate? Hard to say that because I think both of those guys are going to be playing on Sunday for the next decade, and we're going to be seeing them do what JSN and Garrett Wilson and all those Ohio State receivers are doing.
Yeah, and we'll get to see them go up against each other.
Yeah, there you go.
Indiana, it's going to be tough to see who's going to guard those guys because, Jeremiah, 6'5", big boy. And he's got big hands. I was talking earlier. I saw him making another one-handed catch the other day where, is just throw it there. It's all you got to do. No wonder Julian Sands throwing 80%. Just throw it that direction. It's like a web. They're not going to drop those passes. But it is amazing. The Big Ten for so long was known as, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Right now, 5 of the top 7 quarterbacks in the country in completion percentage belong to the Big Ten. This is not your grandpa's Big Ten anymore.
No, it's not. And that'll be on display. And we were just talking about receivers. How about, USC, we get to claim USC's Mekhi Lemon now as a Big
Yeah.
Ten receiver. And that sometimes slips my mind. And what a game that's going to be this weekend between Oregon and USC. Jaden Mayava's played really well. He's kind of been hidden behind Julian Sayin and Fernando Mendoza. And I'm not saying, Mendoza and Sayin deserve everything they're getting, but Mayava's played really well for USC for the majority of this season. So that's yet another quarterback. Dante Moore's been efficient. I think Bryce Underwood's got work to do at Michigan, but you can see the talent there. Like
absolutely.
He's unbelievably talented. And I think as he matures,
they wouldn't be where they are right now without him.
No. And they need to find him some receivers in the portal so we can see what he can actually do. So all of those guys have a lot of talent. And I think, like you said, we grew up with the hammer, the Archie Griffins and the running backs all the time. Now, this league is they can throw it around, and that's great. And you said something earlier that I wanted to reiterate. Now I'm starting to think of this Big Ten championship game. How excited are you to potentially see it with Indiana and Ohio State and all this might be, if I was ranking Big Ten championship games, this would be the best one that I've looking forward to anticipate to watch.
Well, not only is it would it be number one versus number two? Go pull up his stats, people. Go pull up NCAA statistics and see how many categories Indiana is at the top of or near the top of. Ohio State right there. It's amazing. It's like, wow, Indiana, Ohio State. Oh, gosh, Indiana, Ohio State. Third down conversions, third down defense, passing completion, passing touchdowns. It's amazing. And this is going to be awesome for college football, but it's going to be great for the Big Ten. It's great for Indiana, of course. They had a gigantic class of recruits in last 100 guys, Bill. I'm like, that's the size of their whole team. How the hell do you manage 100 potential recruits on a visit? I don't know, but they somehow managed to do that. But yeah, the poll comes out tonight. The only thing I'm looking to see is if Texas Tech, maybe not tonight, but at some point can sneak into that 4 spot, because Texas A&M is not going to the SEC championship, right?
No. And Texas A&M probably will go to the SEC championship with a win.
I thought it was good Georgia and Alabama.
Well, Texas A&M hasn't lost in conference yet.
Oh,
so that's why if Texas A&M loses to Texas, that opens the door for Georgia, Alabama, and an SEC championship game. But you just said something. Why are we always on the same page? We need to start disagreeing on some things. First of all, Texas Tech to me should be 5, and they should have that. They're inching closer and closer to having that first round bye, which they should. Their only loss, they didn't have Baron Morton. If they go 12-1,
Sam Leavitt was healthy for Arizona State.
So, if they go 12-1, they should be in a first round bye over an SEC championship loser. I think that's something. The top 7 should be pretty universal tonight. Maybe Ole Miss and Oregon are flipped or something. But what I'm really watching is 8, 9, 10. That's where it starts, because 11 will be your ACC team. 12 will be, whatever. When we're projecting the field, 12 will be that group of 5 champ. 8, 9, 10 is important because it's how do they order Oklahoma, Alabama, Notre Dame? That's what I'm watching. Do they put Notre Dame ahead of those 2 teams? Do they put Alabama ahead of Oklahoma, even though Oklahoma just beat them? How do they stack those 3 up? And remember, that 8-9 game would be, it's the difference between hosting a home game and not. So if they put Alabama 8, Notre Dame's going down there. I would put probably on Saturday night doing this on deadline, I had Alabama ahead of both, but you think about it a little bit. Notre Dame should probably be 8, followed by Oklahoma, followed by Alabama.
I don't think I disagree with that, but I look forward to talking about it because it's coming out tonight, and but we've got a few more weeks of it. But Bill, I cannot thank you enough as always. It's a great. I have a blast each time, and I look forward to doing this again, man.
Hey, anytime. Thanks for having me on, Jim. I'll talk to you soon.
My pleasure. Make sure you're giving Bill a follow at the Sporting News and keeping up with all his great content on college football and the CFP that rolls on. Appreciate each and every one of you for joining us today. We're back tomorrow to do it again. I'm Jim Coyle. Until then, I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.